Genesis 7:1-4. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female, also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made."
God instructs Noah and his family to enter the ark, reaffirming Noah's righteousness. Additionally, God commands Noah to take 7 pairs of every clean animal and 1 pair of every unclean animal, along with 7 pairs of birds. This ensures the preservation of the various species after the flood. God then reveals that he will send rain for 40 days and 40 nights, effectively destroying all living things on earth.
Genesis 7:5-10. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah, with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives, went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the earth, 2 by 2 they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights.
Noah obeys God's instructions, bringing his family and the animals into the ark. The flood begins as the fountains of the deep rupture and rain pours from the sky for 40 days and 40 nights. As the story of the flood unfolds, consider how it demonstrates God's judgment against sin and wickedness, as well as his grace and mercy toward Noah and his family. The narrative also serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of obedience and faithfulness in our relationship with God.
Genesis 7:11-16. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day Noah and Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark, they and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2, of all flesh in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in.
The flood begins as the fountains of the deep break open and rain falls for 40 days and 40 nights. Noah, his family, and the animals enter the ark just as God had commanded. Significantly, it is the Lord who shuts the door of the ark, symbolizing both protection for those inside and the closing off of any opportunity for salvation for those outside.
Genesis 7:17-20. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered.
The waters of the flood continue to rise, lifting the ark and covering even the highest mountains. This passage emphasizes the complete destruction of the earth and all its inhabitants, except for those aboard the ark.
Genesis 7:21-24. And all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land, died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping thing and bird of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive. And the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days.
This passage reiterates the total destruction of all life on earth, save for Noah, his family, and the animals aboard the ark. The waters cover the earth for 150 days before they begin to recede. The flood serves as a sobering reminder of God's judgment against sin and the importance of obedience to his commands. As you continue to read the story of Noah and the flood, consider the themes of judgment, grace, and the faithfulness of God in the midst of humanity's rebellion.
Genesis 8:1-5. Then God remembered Noah, and every living thing, and all the animals that were with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters subsided. The fountains of the deep and the windows of heaven were also stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And the waters receded continually from the earth. At the end of the 150 days the waters decreased. Then the ark rested in the 7th month, the 17th day of the month, on the mountains of Ararat. And the waters decreased continually until the 10th month. In the 10th month, on the 1st day of the month, the tops of the mountains were seen.
God remembers Noah and all the living creatures aboard the ark. He sends a wind to help the waters recede and stops the rain. The ark eventually comes to rest on the mountains of Ararat, and the waters continue to decrease until the tops of other mountains become visible.
Genesis 8:6-12. So it came to pass, at the end of 40 days, that Noah opened the window of the ark which he had made. Then he sent out a raven, which kept going to and fro until the waters had dried up from the earth. He also sent out from himself a dove, to see if the waters had receded from the face of the ground. But the dove found no resting place for the sole of her foot, and she returned into the ark to him, for the waters were on the face of the whole earth. So he put out his hand and took her, and drew her into the ark to himself. And he waited yet another 7 days, and again he sent the dove out from the ark. Then the dove came to him in the evening, and behold, a freshly plucked olive leaf was in her mouth, and Noah knew that the waters had receded from the earth. So he waited yet another 7 days and sent out the dove, which did not return again to him any more.
After 40 days, Noah sends out a raven and a dove to assess the situation outside the ark. The raven flies back and forth, unable to find a place to land, while the dove returns, indicating the earth is still covered in water. Noah waits 7 days before sending the dove out again, and this time it returns with a freshly plucked olive leaf, signifying that the waters have receded and vegetation is returning. After another 7 days, Noah sends out the dove once more, and it does not return, indicating that the earth is now habitable.
Genesis 8:13-14. And it came to pass in the 601st year, in the 1st month, the 1st day of the month, that the waters were dried up from the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark and looked, and indeed the surface of the ground was dry. And in the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dried.
Over a year after the flood began, the waters finally dry up completely. Noah removes the covering of the ark and sees that the ground is dry, signaling that it is safe for him, his family, and the animals to leave the ark and repopulate the earth. As you continue to read the story of Noah, consider how the events of the flood demonstrate God's judgment and his commitment to preserving a remnant of humanity in the animal kingdom. Additionally, take note of the themes of obedience, faith, and divine providence that run throughout this narrative.
Genesis 8:15-19. Then God spoke to Noah, saying, Go out of the ark, you and your wife, and your sons' wives with you. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, birds and cattle and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, so that they may abound on the earth, and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. So Noah went out, and his sons and his wife and his sons' wives with him. Every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, and whatever creeps on the earth, according to their families, went out of the ark.
With the earth now dry and habitable, God commands Noah and his family to leave the ark, along with all the animals, birds, and creeping things. God instructs them to be fruitful and multiply, repopulating the earth and fulfilling his original mandate given to Adam and Eve.
Genesis 8:20-22. Then Noah built an altar to the Lord, and took of every clean animal and of every clean bird, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a soothing aroma. Then the Lord said in his heart, I will never again curse the ground for man's sake, although the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, nor will I again destroy every living thing as I have done. While the earth remains, seedtime and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, and day and night shall not cease.
In gratitude to God for their preservation, Noah builds an altar and offers sacrifices of clean animals and birds. God is pleased with the offering and makes a promise to never again curse the ground or destroy all living things as he did with the flood. He acknowledges that humans have a sinful nature but affirms his commitment to maintain the order and seasons of the earth. As you reflect on the story of Noah and the flood, consider the themes of judgment and grace, as well as the importance of obedience and faith in our relationship with God. The narrative serves as a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty, his care for his creation, and the consequences of humanity's sinfulness.